welcome back to the Disrupt Project podcast. It has been a few weeks, 3 very long weeks, I think, since we've recorded one.
Three
or 4. It's been a while.
I think it's been 4. Two
I
or
don't
3.
know. As you can tell today, our brains aren't really here, so this is going to be very interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably just start with a bit of a recap.
I'm sounding lovely and husky as well. It's a blessing to listen to.
It's sexy. It's
It's
okay.
sexy. Well, my sexy voice. Yeah, no, it's good to be back. Missed having our little weekly recaps.
No, I've weirdly missed it. I never thought I would, but yeah.
True.
Here we are.
Here we are.
What's been going on for you?
Yes, so I was away in the Goldie finishing off my Master NLP Practitioner course. 2 weeks, 16 days, 1 day off, very long days,
That's fucked.
16-hour days. Hence why I've come back a little bit under the weather. Didn't quite immune system having a rebuild, which is great. But yeah, learnt a whole heap, which was great because before, if anyone listened to the podcast before I left, I had a little bit of resistance around going and just kind of where I was at with, I guess, my interests now and life just being busy and work and everything was a little bit chaotic before I left. However, it was probably the thing I needed the most because funny how that happens. Because it definitely allowed me to unlock some pieces, to put some missing puzzle pieces, to however you want to say that, missing puzzle pieces back together and fill in, I guess a couple of things that was kind of, just feeling a bit confused about with like direction-wise in business and just got more clarity and just a whole lot more confidence as well in like my ability to be able to help people and work now one-on-one with people too. Because I think you do the course, like I did the course like so long ago and then didn't go like straight into coaching or anything like that. So there's bits you definitely like retain a whole heap of information, but then just being able to go over it all and it's integrated. So like we work through it on ourselves and then we get to do it with like a client and each other and just piece it all together. And I guess I'm in such a different place in life now doing this versus when I first did it as well. So it's great to sort of be in that position and lean all in.
Yeah.
So
for those who don't know, what is NLP?
So neuro-linguistic programming. So it's essentially working like with ourselves initially, but then with clients working with the conscious and unconscious mind, working through negative emotions, limiting beliefs that are essentially holding people back in life. And basically communicating and reprogramming the unconscious mind in order to get down to the root cause of those beliefs and emotions, because a lot of them stem from childhood or even before that, like past life. Like it can be all sorts of things that consciously we're not aware of, but unconsciously it's in there, and that's where our thoughts coming from, because that's essentially where our thoughts and beliefs and values will get dictated from is our unconscious mind. So in order to change it, we have to go into the unconscious mind, work through it there. And not only that, like it's like an NLP course, however, like there's a lot more that's included in it as well. So like it was actually quite spiritual, which was really cool and I wasn't expecting for this particular course. Like I've done like quantum healing and that sort of thing. But it was actually quite spiritual. So that was really cool.
Do you think that helped?
Yeah, that definitely got me pumped up. When I heard about that, I was like, fuck yeah.
Because that's the kind of where you sort of want to go into a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So it probably helps that you can be like, oh yeah, this is...
tied in nicely. And then we had like a whole relationships day. So, and again, like a lot of that information I knew. However, it was good, like just, really going through that a bit more in depth and just listening to conversations and that sort of thing that happened in the room. What else we do? We had a couple like spiritual days, which was really cool, diving into things and just really like getting you thinking on reality, time, like completely just opening your mind to different ways of thinking about the world and reality in general. So
did you like dive into the whole like energy thing? And it's like everything is energy. Like
yeah.
But did it go as deep as like this table isn't a table, it's energy?
Not specifically tables. However, how everything is like a reflection of us, and like where we focus our energy, like going back into the past or like past experiences, and even into the present. Like everything, it was really cool going through values, and there's values levels. And essentially we did this quiz, and because everyone kind of knows of your values and people harp on about your values, but going through and understanding values levels, like just really helps understand just society in general, but how you communicate with people. Because essentially there's different values levels. So like values like 2, it's really hard to not like go on an absolute rant trying to explain it all. But essentially like values 2 is kind of like the Indigenous culture and that sort of thing. Values 3 is, I guess, will have certain, I guess that's kind of like where a lot of society is, and values 4 as well. So like values 3 is, I guess, like drugs, alcohol, gambling, kind of those sorts of behaviours as well. They're in an individual level as well, so kind of only think for themselves. Values 4 is all about like the system, following rules. So like a lot of people will generally sit in that one, values level 4 in society. And I guess they always think someone's higher above them, so whether that's in religion or the government and that sort of thing.
It's quite limiting in itself.
Yeah. So, but it kind of makes sense being able to, I guess, see, especially a lot of like that in society, you come across a lot of people who are kind of right by the book, and there's always someone above them, or really stickler for following the rules and that sort of thing. So it's interesting being able to like people you talk to now and kind of get a gauge for where they're at. And then it's kind of continues to like evolve in 5s, I guess, going into like entrepreneurs and kind of still utilizing the system, but also breaking away like from it and thinking a little bit for themselves, and outside of that. And then level 6 and that sort of thing is kind of going into more spirituality. Like they're really conscious of like nature, the environment, really open-minded to, I guess, there being source like above overall in like energy and that sort of thing. And then you could kind of go on. However, coming back to that, it's essentially like you can be kind of doing transitions in those levels. So dependent what your, I guess, upbringing and that sort of thing has been, it could be based off what values level you're sitting in. And you have to do the transition into each value level to move up, essentially. So like if you're trying to grow as a person and you're still in majority like levels 3, hanging around people who are doing drugs, drinking, like gambling, like all those sorts of behaviors, that's predominantly in level 3 behavior. So in order for you to break out of that, like you do have to come away from those environments or away from those people and move into, like, you can't jump levels. So you do have to learn how to utilize the system and learn how to be okay with like following certain rules and that sort of thing. Then eventually you can level up and move past that too. So it's just super interesting. You can do that. However, once you've done the transition through the levels, you can always go back and like, in certain groups you'll be able to go back into that level, like, and communicate with those people. And especially for like sales and business and that sort of thing, if you're trying to, like, if you're in level 5, for instance, trying to communicate with someone who's in level 3 and you're trying to communicate with them on like a level 5 basis, they're not going to get anything you're putting down. So you've got to go to level 3, communicate in their way that they will be able to understand, and that is like their model of the world and their language. And then they're going to understand it a whole lot more. So
that's kind of like my situation at the moment. It's like I like removed myself from that partying lifestyle to level up, and now like when hanging out with my friends, when they're in that sort of, they're still in that bubble, sometimes I look and I'm like, I just want to give you advice that like I need right now in my life, but then I need to like change it how I say to them. So like, guys. That's exactly prime example. It's not going to get through.
No, and they won't see it at all. No. And it's interesting because they're going through how like when you're in a values level, like you can't see people like in higher values level than you. So like they're probably looking at you like they wouldn't even be obviously aware of that.
Yeah.
However, you're just actually oblivious to people being in higher values levels, like until you're there yourself, and then you can go back down. So you can't see up, but you can see back down, if that makes sense.
I never looked at it that way.
It's super interesting. I'd never heard of values levels before going through this, and I was like, whoa, I was like, so much makes sense. And essentially, like you can be doing kind of like multiple transitions as well. So for instance, and there's kind of like towards energy and there's away from energy within all levels.
Yeah.
So we did this quiz and it kind of gave us our summaries on that of where we could be like having energy that's like holding us back from going kind of to that next level. So yeah, for instance, I had values level 3, I think, away from, which is like can be holding on to like a lot of anger and that sort of thing too. However, that's kind of reflective of like, you know, not being around family and moving away from family and past like childhood stuff as well. However, there's still parts of that which made me realise like I had probably not completely accepted.
Yeah.
So as I'm able to do that, I'm shifting that energy from that place and moving it towards the next level. Okay. That makes sense. So yeah, that was kind of cool to see where you're kind of not completely integrated with that energy.
No, because you can do all this work and you think you've worked on something, but then you get to the point and you're like, oh shit, I think I avoided it to work on it.
Yeah. So no, it was super interesting. Yeah.
Do you think like I kind of look at it this way, the spiritual one and the entrepreneur, I can't even say that word, but those two, I feel like if you want to build a business, you have to integrate those two. Because I think if you're completely in the spirit world and just tapping into source 24/7, I don't think you're gonna, you could, but I feel like you need to level down a bit to build your business.
100%. And that was reflective in a few people within their scores, and that was kind of something that got brought up in conversation in the room, is that they probably had too much towards in level 6 and spirituality. And that was kind of reflective of where they were and what they were doing with business, whereas they need to utilize a bit more of the systems and like level 4, level 5 stuff in order to actually propel them forward further.
Yes, because you can sit up in those clouds forever. And like you would be so happy.
Yeah.
But
you're not going to get anything done.
You're not going to get anything done. And if you want to build like a sustainable career and a lifestyle, then you have to drop down.
Yeah, exactly. So that was something that came up for a few people as well, which was cool. And even for me, like I had a pretty high score towards in that.
Yeah.
And I guess the parts of me that I'd kind of probably been trying to push away from like level 3, level 4, I kind of realised I had to accept those and move some of that energy, I guess, from going towards the polar opposite of those things, but actually come back and like accept those parts in order to then be able to move me forward in the next steps in what I want to do. So from those scores and then piecing that together, and I was like, okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So it was interesting.
Had a massive 2 weeks.
Yeah. And even think it was interesting doing, because we go through like our breakthroughs, like take turns in being the coach and the client. And so essentially what we would work with clients over like a 6-week block, we did in like a full day each. Yeah. And within that, at the end of that is like you set like a big future goal, like future pace, whether it's like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever you want it to be. But we did 6 months. And it was interesting because I had realised like I hadn't really thought about my next big goal. Yeah. I think, like it was always, you know, the house and the business and that sort of thing. And then all that's done. And then I went through this like healing journey and like rediscovering myself. And now I've been working out those pieces over the last 6 months, However, it wasn't until that point I was just like, what am I actually like, what's actually, like I know what I want to do and what's aligned for me now.
What are those
but what is
goals?
Actually the goal and the vision? Because, I was like, what do I want? Like, what actually do I want? Yeah. And I think that was such a good point as well. It was like, I think that's what was kind of bringing a lot of confusion of actually beforehand, like what I was doing and that definitely, getting clear on that definitely helped me align my focus and, again, energy towards, right, that's the goal now. So what do I actually need to do to get there? What's actually important, instead of me trying to like juggle all these different hats and all these different things and compartmentalize everything, which I realized also I'd done my entire life. Like when that came out, I was like, it took so long to wrap my head around that. And I was like, that's just what like I've done. Like, how do I not do that? How do I like, it's all one, like, but it's all me, it's all one. Yeah. So why have I been breaking it down? That was even like reflecting in my first goal. I was like trying to like segregate it to like just this one area. And it's like, look at it as a whole of overall what I want to achieve and like what's the overall goal, instead of breaking everything down and like, wearing different hats at different times, but not all wearing them together. Yeah. So coming back to that, and it's like, it's just me. This one, like, don't have to break it all apart. And I was like, holy shit.
I was thinking that on the way here. I was like, I think in every aspect of your life, people, like as a society as a whole, you think like, okay, like let's just say I'm an engineer, like that's who I am. But it's like, no, I'm Elise. Like, I love to train. I love to get spiritual as fuck. I love to be a little bogan sometimes. I love fashion. Like, they're all such individual things that people look at and go, you can't have like your finger in every pie, but like you can. Yeah. That's just the things that I enjoy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's you. That's, like everything is the reflection of who you are at your core. And if you're trying to section that into all these different areas, like you're never being completely your entire self, because you're breaking off parts of yourself to try to do that. So
it's nuts, because like you look at spirituality, if you took yourself back 10 years to what you thought a person looked like, it would be them in like this floating gown, just like literally like floating through a field, like have like a little turban on their head. But that's just so not what it is.
No.
Yeah. No. And I think the more you open up your mind to just the possibilities of everything, it's like you don't have to fit yourself into what society thinks that is. Yeah, just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. And also one of the like just whack combos we had in the room, where it was just like, this was like one of the, I don't know, I think it was maybe the third or fourth, like to last night. And it's such an interesting conversation. It's hard to like completely articulate like the conversation that goes on in the room. However, essentially coming back to, we get so caught up in like the future and the past. However, like what really is time, like all we have is the now. Like now is all we really know and all we're guaranteed of. So you can get so caught up in like, you've done this in the past, or you should do this in the future. Like, you want to do the thing, just go do the thing now. Like, what can you do now to action those things or to step into like yourself? And it's like, where even you talk about like your higher self and working towards your higher self, like you literally have a choice to be that person now. Just start like acting like it and start showing up in the ways that they would. And you're doing it. Like you're that version of yourself, because it's like we have our higher self, our conscious mind and our unconscious mind. And it's a bit the same, like you can compartmentalize them to think you're like working towards this thing, you've got to like do this, which like you just can choose that now. So we just have now. Time is not real, people. So I
was thinking like, oh fuck.
No, it's so true. It's like like it went on this whole tangent. So we'll be here till midnight if I went down there. However,
we're not doing that.
And I guess the overall thing is like, really like what do we wait for? Between, like, it's just a matter of us making a decision, and a lot of like anxiety and stress and confusion comes from us simply just not making that decision.
Yes,
because we get caught in this loop thinking that we have to think about this, or what if this happens, or what if this, like what if you were to just take the first step and just do it and action it and make the decision that that's what you're going to do, or you don't, and then you be happy with that decision. However, are you still going to be wondering of what if and what that? So
it's the what ifs will kill you.
Yeah, like really just make the decision on the things now.
Well, that was like me the last I mean, it's been an ongoing pattern for me. But I was like, okay, like I really want to get into my sound healing. I want to like do my breathwork training. And I was just like, I kept putting it off, and I was like, oh, the money at the bowls. Like I just moved out of home, blah, 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 all the excuses. And then this week I was like, fuck it, I'm buying them.
Yeah.
And I bought them.
Yeah.
And then I signed up for my training. That obviously hasn't started yet.
Woo!
Thank you. Hopefully 3 months I'll be a facilitator.
Woo!
Yeah. But I'm so excited now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've just done it. It just takes that one step to do it. And I know it was the right decision because of like how I'm feeling inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I haven't been this excited for something in a very long time.
Yay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
All the other things that were running through my mind was scaring me.
Yeah.
With this, I'm like, no, this is the right one because I'm so fucking excited.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Let's go.
I would catch me Friday night just sitting on my floor with my bowls.
Friday nights have changed.
My roommates will walk in and be like, you good? Yep.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah. But that's a prime example in like how before you made the decision, like how many times did you go back around in that loop of like, want to do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And like we're all so guilty of it.
Yeah.
It's like until you make that decision, then you break out of the loop.
Yep.
And it's like, cool.
Yeah. And I think it was the right decision for me at this time. I think at the last reconnection, I saw the vision of what's next and this was it. Which was really nice to see it.
Yeah.
When you can see that vision, it makes it a lot clearer because that's not what I had in my mind beforehand.
Yeah. And I think like as well is if you've got like the vision for something and you're struggling to make the decision, and if it seems like super far away, like what are the building blocks between that you can do? Like just focus on like what's a step before that really big vision that you could do, for instance. So like you think about it as like a little graph and you've got these little like stepping stones, like there's the big vision. Okay, so like what do you need to lean into, or just do you need to try, or do you need to find out about something, and like just make that decision first, then get to that place, then make the next decision.
Yes.
And then cool, okay, you've got there. So what's your next decision for the big vision?
And I think a lot of the time money does come into it, but you can do so much learning while you're saving to like make the big purchase or like sign up to the course. Like, there's still a lot you can learn in the meantime.
Yeah.
But once you get into it, then you'll be like, oh, actually, I feel like I already know something because you've put in the work.
Yeah. And I think if we really want things to happen and like want to do things, like we always find a way to do it as well. So it's like the money and stuff only comes down, and even me going to this course, like things only become a problem if we decide that they're a problem. So
money kind of played into it for you as well a bit. You're like,
100%. I fell into that trap too. Yeah. And then you look at the overall scheme of things, and you just I guess having that trust that you know that you're making the right decision and that it's going to work out and that you're going to get out of it what you want, or you'll get a lesson out of it either way. So you find a way to do it.
You do. It's funny, like having money as a block for me because I've never had it before.
Yeah.
Because I've just like lived at home with my family and I'm like, I'm sweet. Like I don't have to pay for anything. Where now I'm like, oh, this is what this feels like.
Yeah.
Like,
touched on,
like,
I
can just, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm not broke.
Yeah.
But it's just funny having that block there. Like, fuck, I'm an adult.
And it's interesting to think, like, if you think about like where that comes from as well, because we like, one of the days, or a lot of the days, we talked about like money mindset and like money, like this is something I've struggled with as well, because growing up, like family beliefs are always just like hold on to it, like it's really hard to come by and it's really hard to work for and it doesn't come easily. So naturally you take on those beliefs as well. Yeah. However, it's just another belief system that's been like planted on you. So it's like you're able to shift that, and how you feel towards money. Like money's just energy as well. And if you can think about money as energy, in that the tighter you're holding on to things as well, that's always, whether it's money or people or situations, whatever, like it's always coming from a place of lack and you're holding on to something so tightly. So like if you can allow things to flow and know what you need to do to like show up and get money, and just think about it as like another energy currency, like it flows out and it comes back, like, and shifting your perspective that things don't come easily to you or they're hard to come by, and it's challenging, obviously, the way society is these days and everywhere, and everyone puts the fear of God in you that, you know, the cost of living and everything like that. However, there's so many ways to make money as well these days. So
I think there's a big movement towards that at the moment as well. And like dive as deep into it as you want. But I think we're in a really good, like our generation can change that perspective on money.
100%. Like we have so much opportunity online that, like all the past generations haven't really had.
No,
so
well, they've been born into it, so it's different. But I think now, like I look at so many people who are working less and making way more, or because they're actually doing something they just love. Yeah, and they've like kind of hacked their own minds. Yeah, they've just let go of that limiting belief.
Yeah, it's interesting when you come back to it and you realize, like there's limiting beliefs in so many things, and it doesn't even have to be generally they all come back to like, I don't feel good enough, or I don't feel loved, or I'm not worthy and loved. However, there's like variations of them as well, and it's so interesting.
That was a very big one of mine for years and years and years. Was I'm not worthy. And it's like as soon as you shift that, and it's taken like a good year to completely kind of fob that off. You're just like, I'm fucking worthy. It does take a lot of inner work and a lot of like self-reflection and looking at yourself and how you're showing up, how you're interacting with others and yourself. But it's a good place to be in shifting that.
It's a good place to be. Well, that's a recap on me. What about you? You got sound bowls, breath work. Let's go.
Just turning into a little witch. Casting spells on Tahi and him only.
You were like, I knew it.
I've had it's been an interesting few weeks, few months for me. I think I've had to really work on dialing things back and just coming back to basics. I think like starting a new job, that's been quite hectic. It's brought along a lot of stress on myself, on my body, and my mind.
Yes, indeed.
So I've been, and like initially I was completely, I realised I disassociated from life in trying to protect myself in the moment at work. So I'd take it home with me.
Yeah.
And I'd avoid and do all that shit. Filling up my life with just pointless shit. I was like, I'm so busy. I don't have time to like sit down and journal or just actually sit down and be. And then I looked back and I was like, how long did you spend on your phone? Like, you went shopping? Why'd you go shopping? You didn't need to. Like, you didn't need to do any of this shit. I was completely just avoiding life for a little bit there. But I had a reality check. I gave myself one. I did sob to a couple of people, which is good.
That's good.
It's good. It's not something I do, so it was very good. When I cry to someone, you know something's wrong. Yeah. So I did that. And then I, just did an overhaul of my life and got back to basics. Actually started journaling, meditating again and just being, because I did.
Yay.
There was a good few weeks to maybe a month that I probably might have done it twice, which is, from doing it every day to just like stopping. Yeah. I knew something was very wrong, but I'd done the things. Making moves.
Yay.
I've realised that starting again, it's not bad.
No.
Yeah, it's not bad to start again. It's actually really healthy to look at it, like look at the situation you're in and going, okay, I'm not happy. It's not good for me.
It's not working.
A hell of a lot of trauma on my body. Yeah. Like to the point where like my cycle's late. Second month in a row. Yeah. Like I'm always carrying around a level of anxiety on my chest because it's like the fear of what's going to happen and like you're walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I'm in youth work at the moment. Which is I put my it's a very tough, very tough industry to be in.
Yeah.
I've realised that I'm probably just not cut out for it, which is completely fine.
And I think that's the thing, it was something new that you were going into and you tried and gave it a shot.
Yeah.
And it may have not had the outcome that you hoped it would have. No. However, you've been able to learn a lot about yourself in that process too and work out what you don't want to do.
No. And I think I got into it to learn about the impacts of trauma, which I absolutely have.
Yeah.
And it's been really, in a way, I can look at the situations I'm in and understand how they've got to this point. It's just for me, I don't thrive under that level of stress on my body. It's just not meant for me. Where some people can actually do it. Yeah. And, oh my God, I don't know how they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe they're just hiding things.
Also to admit, come to that realization within yourself though, because it's just how even in the past, people stay in those situations for so much longer than they should, and you've recognized that toll that it's having on your physical and emotional well-being, and you've made the choice to make a change now as well. So that takes a lot in itself, and it hasn't even been that long of a time. So
no,
you think about that turnaround, and that's amazing that you've been able to do that. It feels
like it's forever. But I think if I look at the last time, the last job, it took me 6 months to make this decision.
Yeah.
I've probably only been in this job for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And it took me maybe, when was the very connection? A month and a half ago?
Yeah.
So it probably took me that long, which when I look back on it, I thought I was fucking around for a while. That's not that long.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've made the change, so I've done something about it, and then the next thing will be better. Yeah. If I don't like it, move on.
That's the thing. Just try
change
the things and move on.
Yeah. Like we were saying before, it's it's not failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets that possibility of if something doesn't work out, it gets less and less scary each time you're able to jump through that, because it's you reframe it that it's not failing, and you get to determine what failure is, and who even decided failure was a thing. It's just growth, lessons, and
it's all lessons to me,
experiences. So
everything I've been through in my life, there's not one point where I've gone I've regretted any of it, or gone, oh, I wish that didn't happen. It's no, there was a lesson in everything. And some people, it's perception as well, because someone else might look back at my life and find so much failure in it, but I don't believe that. So whatever they think about that is just, they do what they want. But
exactly.
I was having a conversation with someone this morning actually, because he was like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know. And he said to me, he was like, the way I do it when I don't know what I want is write down a list of what I don't want.
Yeah.
So look at your life and look at the things that you don't want. And then from there, it might provide some clarity on what you can change.
Yeah.
Or then it might open up an avenue to be okay, I don't really know what I want, but what are some small things I could maybe try to work, to get there. And just experiment with things.
Yeah, I was talking about this with a girlfriend a little while ago as well, and she's sort of at a point where she's a little bit of a crossroads and not sure what she kind of wants to step into next. She's like, could do this. And I was like, just try. Just pick one, start it, see how you go. If you don't like it, pivot.
There's so many possibilities.
That's the thing, we're only stuck if we decide that we're stuck in that too. So it's, life is so short, and I think back to how long I sat in that space of just fear of making a decision around things, and I'd just go again round in that loop of overthinking, what if this, that's terrifying, don't know how the hell I'm going to work that out. And it's now just trying and just taking that step is when you're able to experience it and see the loop and see how you can come out of it and what the growth is from that, it just gets easier every time. And no one, I guess, that's in a position that they are so happy within themselves and doing what they love every day hasn't done those steps and hasn't gone through that same process.
No, it doesn't matter what level you're at as well, it's going to come up again.
Yeah.
it's going to come up no matter what stage of your life you're in. So it's just how quickly you sort of hop on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were touching on before, like checking in when you know something's not right, or if you're falling off the bandwagon with something. It's like I was a bit the same. Like we know how valuable like all the things are that we utilize and the modalities and the tools that we utilize, yet we still have those moments where we fall off the bandwagon, or, you know, just go in these spirals of like overworking and getting out of our routine and out of whack of what we know is the standard we want for ourselves and the things that we want to do that actually replenish our nervous systems. However, like we still have to have those check-ins with ourselves, so it's completely normal.
The perfection, that level of perfection that we probably all think we should be at, just doesn't exist.
You know, you get to know yourself so much better, and you know your triggers, you know your warning signs, and when they start alarming, then you know something's got to shift, and so it's looking at where that can be. And there's no like shame in that. Like, God, everyone ends up back there. Exactly. You just are better equipped every time you get back to it. So
just like think of yourself in those instances. What's going to make you the happiest? And if people have their perceptions or their ideas on what you should do, like don't always listen to them. Because that's what they want for you. Like, what do you want for you? It's just a reflection of their internal world and fears and pushed out. So there's our little recap. That was a very big recap.
Very big recap. Probably today. Went off on tangents. Unlike us.
That's what happens when you don't have a plan. Yeah, we just babble.
We come in today. We're like, our brains aren't here today, but we did good. So then we've got our women's circles coming up as well. June next weekend. No, not this weekend coming. Next weekend.
And then we're going to
sold out. And
then
monthly. Yeah, we had to shift our other one in June, so we'll probably just aim to do the monthly. But we've got the next one up in July on the 20th. So anyone that wants to come along, we'd love to see that. And some
I will be doing some sound healing at the next one.
Yes, you will. We'll have exciting stuff coming. Amazing. We'll catch you next time.